Eh, Boy, did that catch me off guard. I gotta go turn this music off. Sorry.
Another voice, another choice to listen to words somebody said.
Come on. I stopped it. Alrighty then. Yep, this is Pine Grove Blues Live, and we got a special report. Don't normally come on Tuesdays. Yeah, it's my night off, so anyways, let's see. First of all, I just want to I want to warn everyone that what you're about to hear, I mean, is not fear mongering. I am just putting out what I'm listening to on the web, on the alternative media, and mainstream as well. And I would be neglecting my duties as a watchman if I did not put it out. And it's very important because, excuse me, a few things have transpired that make things ever so important so that you can prepare yourselves. Let's see, I got notes all over the place, so bear with me. First of all, how to put it this way? First of all, let's just give you some basic news. There was a 7.7 earthquake over there in the Papua New Guinea area. I looked for a tsunami. They did not report any tsunamis. Okay, they said there was none. But at the moment, with all this propaganda that's, just going out there on the web right now, I don't know. 7.7, you normally have some type of tsunami, especially in the location that it is. And this is in one of the islands, northeast of Papua New Guinea, Kaiping. So 7.7 was reported by the USGS, and they downgraded it to a 7.5, and just wanted to report that to you. And of course, we had one over the weekend. I believe it was in that area, 7.1. No, it was probably a week. It was a week ago. And another thing I want to report. You want to talk about crazy weather? I mean, here we are, mid-May, right? Mid-May. I mean, summer is in another month. Okay. This morning, the temperatures here this morning, they've been like this for a couple days now, was 38 degrees in southern New England. This morning, Tuesday morning, okay? Wednesday, we're supposed to get up 63, but we're supposed to get in the 80s by the weekend. So everything is really messed up. This is not normal. I thought we were actually getting a nice spring coming in here, and then it just turned cold and chilly, drizzling rain. We're already saturated, and everybody's getting saturated. Trees are toppling over. The roots, people were noticing were very short, shallow. So that says a lot. That groundwater, whatever's in the ground is not feeding these trees. They have to go up further. I don't know what's going on with them, but everything is just totally whacked out. Totally whacked out. But let me set the stage here, okay, for what news that we're going to be reporting. First of all, we all know about the Venezuela thing, okay? I don't know if you've ever taken me up on going to go listen to Florida Maquis. He talks about this Venezuela thing that's been going on for quite a while. I started listening to him first when that Fitzgerald was attacked by a cargo ship. I'm calling it attack because that's exactly what's going on over the weekend and today, okay? There are just too many similarities in that incident with the Fitzgerald months ago. I don't know if you remember that. Big thing to do about it. But we're talking about Venezuela now, okay? Socialist country. What was it? Who? Chavez, something like that, was the president before Maduro. And they had one of the biggest, or the top five, I don't know what it was. Somebody says one of the biggest, and somebody said top five oil reservoirs or reserves in the world. And so, no wonder that America had to get its hands into that, and because, after all, the world is based on the petrodollar. So I hope you know that. Based on the petrodollar, and that was an agreement made between Saudi Arabia and the United States way back. I mean, I'm not even going to guess how far back. But in any case, the world is basically, the U.S. is basically the world's currency, the petrodollar. Okay, and a lot of countries are doing bad right now. They're broke, supposedly. So the premise here is that with this thing in Venezuela, okay, and not just there, also in Saudi Arabia, because that's what's going on right now. This is another thing that is making the United States do the things that they're doing. First of all, let's go to Saudi Arabia, because it's quicker and easier to tell you about that. Is that Saudi Arabia does not, is very weary, or they're getting to the point where they don't trust America as much as they used to. And so they turn to Russia and talking with them about an oil deal with them. Okay? Them, specifically Russia. And so America knows about this. And now Venezuela, okay, with the, who used to deal with America, and that we've gotten away from that a couple of years back. And this is when all the sanctions started happening on Venezuela, because the United States could do that. This is their way of, torturing a country into submission to get their oil. Okay, because the whole thing, again, is based on the petrodollar. Remember that. And U.S. as the world currency. So if Saudi Arabia goes to Russia, and now Venezuela, because of all the sanctions and everything else imposed by the United States through the UN, has now made Venezuela turn to Russia, Iran, China. They had no other choice. They were being systematically derailed. I mean, their banking systems, how the Federal Reserve, the IMF, they listen to America. America's the one that founded the Federal Reserve. I hope you know that, back in 1913. We'll talk about that in another video. But that's what's going on to set the stage, okay? Why the United States is finally now going after China in the Yellow China Sea with the Spratly Islands. This is why the United States is now in the Gulf of Mexico with strike force against Iran. Now, with the news that we're going to bring you tonight, okay, a couple articles that we found, apparently, Iran has admitted to some attacks. China has come out and declared something, and things are just boiling over. It's starting to boil over, and we're going to go to war. Okay, we've been talking about that for a long time now. Things culminating, everyone moving pieces. And talk about moving pieces. Let's listen to this one first. This is from somebody called Marfugel. He calls himself Marfugel News. His name is Adam. Been listening to him for a while, but I mainly get his short reports unless I have time to listen to this 2-hour broadcast. He's on the West Coast, so I can't really listen to him live anyway. But he has, I'm going to play this for 4 minutes, 37 seconds. And this is a tip he got from somebody who works in the military, and he knows a lot of people. A lot of the military come to this site. And so we'll let this play for 4.5 minutes and let you know what is going on there. Okay.
Leaving the day job for the day, and there is a line, more than he can count, of semi-trucks. And these trucks are actually coming in to ship product out. And this is not normal.
What's up, guys? It's Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfugal News. So we have some urgent information that we are passing along. And again, what we have here is a network of people that are giving us information, and we are trying to pass it on. Now, some of the information is not exactly right for this platform, so we...
Hen, could you do me a favor and tell me if you can hear that? I turned up that one channel. I just want to know if you can hear that video playing. I stopped it right now. I'm going to replay it, but let me know if you can hear it. Please.
We are going to put anything that we leave out of this video into our Marfugal alerts. Now, this is very concerning, and we will explain why it is concerning. You definitely want to stay tuned.
Okay.
Now, I have Dex here, and he is on the phone with me, and he just got off the phone with a military insider. Dex, are you there?
Yes, Adam, I'm here. And yes, that's right. I was speaking earlier with a military insider out of the Tucson area, and I've got some really alarming news about the activities going on at the Raytheon plant there.
So for anybody that does not know who Raytheon is,
I turned it up.
First explain what Raytheon does and kind of their gig and their place in this.
Yes, certainly. Raytheon is a large military defense contractor. They build a lot of equipment, specifically in the Tucson area. That's the headquarters for the missile division. I think they operate out of Air Force Plant 44, and they've been there for quite some time. And if you're not familiar with Raytheon, you may be familiar with some of the actual missile names if you've heard them in past engagements. Things like the Sidewinder, the Tomahawk missile. They're really interesting named one called an exo-atmospheric kill vehicle. I love the name of that for some strange reason. The Stinger and the Patriot missiles, you've heard of those, I'm sure, as well. And they've got many, many others. Very large missile manufacturer.
So these are basically all of the deadliest missiles in the world this plant makes, and we've had calls around it before as well. We've had people that worked there and said that they were on high alert. That was about 4 or 5 months ago. There was a woman who called in and said that her, I believe, husband was basically saying that the entire place, which is run like a base, was on high alert. And then that was kind of, nobody really mentioned it since then. And now we are hearing some alarming news about what is actually physically going on right now. So can you explain, I guess, what kind of information you got from this person?
Sure. Sure, Adam. This person, it goes hand in hand with the high alert. It makes a lot of sense what I'm hearing from this person. They basically described the environment at Raytheon for the past year or so as being an all-out production, like cranking missiles out faster than they've ever done it before. Matter of fact, I think the description was they have never seen this type of scale and magnitude of production, except for one other time in their history, and that was the lead-up to the Gulf confrontation in the Gulf. I don't want to use the W word there. And apparently they're pumping out like a missile every minute and 30 seconds. So do the math on that.
And when you think of a minute and a half, you think of like a plant making M&Ms or something. It's like, this is a...
Okay, so with that, I'll just say, there's like 11 more minutes. I don't know if they talk about anything else, but it's important to know that these missiles are being, made faster than anything else in our history of making missiles. Okay, and they do have a contract a $2 billion contract to get some of these over to Saudi Arabia. I don't know whether they stopped that or not, but the thing is that they got trucks and trucks, tractor trailers and tractor trailers lined up, getting these things out and delivering them to wherever they've got to go faster than they've ever seen in the history of that company. Or, anyways, so it's very important to understand what's going on here, the things that we're doing to get ready. And so I want to bring you also over to JonXArmy, who's going to tell us in a couple of seconds what he heard from someone else in the military. And I'll let it go with that.
First of all, what I'm about to tell you is not classified. It's not leaked info. It is not illegal for me to tell you this. We have some patrons on my Patreon page that are very reliable people. They came forward with some information, and I can't tell you who the information's from. It's from, we'll just say, people who work closely with the military. And supposedly Russia has activated its nuclear sub-fleet over tension with between the U.S. and Iran. And some of you guys know who I'm talking about already. It's not a secret. I wanted to have him on the channel so that he could have told you.
Okay, so he doesn't come on the channel, and that's all he talks about is that Russian submarine fleet, nuclear missile fleet are being prepared. And just remember that there's also been talk a lot lately about this so-called water event on the East Coast. And so you got, because it's on the currency, the Illuminati, whoever you want to call them, have to tell us what they're doing, and they do it in these ways. And some of them put them on the currency, on our currency. I forget what it is, but it is an attack, and it looks like everyone's saying New York City, and some kind of water event, and some kind of missile or fin of something in the back of the water. So I don't know if it's these planes that were stolen from Egypt, 100 that are missing there. You got 2 other planes that just disappeared off the face of the earth with all the technology we have. I mean, you could load a plane up with something and then just bring it across the ocean under the radar and just dive it off the coast of New York and cause a huge explosion. You've got 6 or 7 nuclear bombs that are supposedly in terrorist hands. I don't know if I believe that one, but that's out there too, propaganda or not. I mean, for the propaganda, you're going to have to discern this for yourself. I felt it important enough to bring this out here so that you can at least see what's going on and what has been escalated, and how we're preparing for these things and how other countries are preparing for whatever. If Venezuela goes down and sticks with Russia, because Russia is going to protect Venezuela and China is going to protect them, and I will point this out right now, right here. Where is it? Any case, let's see. Maybe I lost it. But I mean, I guess we can listen to, listen to this one first, because China's president had just declared a people's war against the United States. Publicly declared, apparently. I heard it somewhere else, not just from Chris here from AMTV. But we'll listen to what he has to say anyway, because it has a lot to do with why we may be going to war. If Venezuela gets away with siding with Russia, the U.S. doesn't have an oil enterprise or reserves or something in that country. And if Saudi Arabia turns to Russia and they no longer have Saudi Arabian oil, the petrodollar collapses and the country, this country, and maybe even the world, after the country collapses, then the world collapses. And what happens then? Total chaos. Total chaos. So what can they do in as far as false flags to institute or give a reason to go to war? Well, we could say somebody started and made this tsunami off the East Coast. We're still looking at Oroville Dam in the West Coast that is at imminent topping levels. We'll get to that in a minute too. So we'll talk about that, because if that all goes, I mean, you're talking about West Coast going, you're talking about Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, where they're going to do something with the East Coast and West Coast to move those people, either kill them outright and or move the rest of them inland. They're trying to move everyone into the middle of the country, which is underwater, or most of it, and kind of compact us into one area. Now, what they're going to do after that, who knows? You can get into other conspiracy theories like, Dave Hodges has spoken about with this Red Dawn invasion. Maybe that's why they're trying to clear the West Coast. I mean, that's where this invasion supposedly is supposed to take place. Now, remember all this, okay? Remember this, and now remember that what Iran said just a couple days ago. They said that if the United States attacks Iran, that Iran will attack Israel. Now, Iran right now have missiles to hit Tel Aviv. They do, and they've improved their systems. So they will be able to attack Israel if we can't help them. Now, the only reason why we wouldn't be able to help them is what I just spoke about. If this Oroville Dam goes and these other things happen on the West Coast, they're going to be busy with that disaster. They're already busy with the middle of the country and those disasters. What happens if the East Coast tsunami happens at the same time? We are going to be way too busy to help anybody else. We won't. We'll be too busy. Yeah, we have the fleets out there, but you see what I'm saying? You see what I'm getting at? So, anyways, let's listen to Chris.
You're watching AMTV, alternative media television. We have absolutely massive news in the U.S. economy, what's going on with global events, what we're seeing, information, some consider propaganda out of Tehran, some are considering propaganda out of the United States military, suggesting that a Saudi Arabian, all these ships have been attacked. This is mainstream news, and I want to talk a little bit about that today, but also this
Yeah, and we will get to those articles about these so-called attacks. We have them.
Pre-planned and engineered trade war with China. Please take a moment, like this video, share it, get it out to your friends and family, because I believe what's coming will be worse than 1929. It will be worse than 2008 and 2009 combined. I remember when I was working for Merrill Lynch prior to 2008, when Lehman Brothers began collapsing, when Bear Stearns began collapsing, and I went out to family and friends and I warned them. I said, look, get out of the stock market. It's going to be really bad. In fact, I was tweeting earlier this morning that I'm expecting, in my humble opinion, the stock market to drop a precipitous 10,000 plus points in the not too distant future. We saw the Dow Jones Industrial Average up, I think it was 120 points earlier today. And all this is, in my opinion, is a sucker's rally. Okay, attempting to suck in the middle class, just like they did prior to 2008 and 2009, before they pulled the rug out of everybody and then ushered in multi-trillion-dollar bailouts. Now, people keep telling me, Christopher, have faith in Trump, have faith in Trump. You know, I'm a big supporter of Donald Trump. I'm voting for him again in the upcoming election.
Now, you remember those bailouts, right? They bailed out the banks, of all people. Got to bail out the banks? Really? I mean, we really fell for that, didn't we? And then, of course, the insurance companies who all have billions and billions of dollars. And while we bailed the insurance companies out, they were giving their CEOs and other officers huge bonuses. It's just a joke. And they're going to come after us again, like Chris says, and I believe so. To bail, I've been hearing about bailouts for the banks again for a while now.
And I think he will be reelected in a landslide. But I actually think Trump knows exactly what he's doing regarding the economy, which is the reason why I'm making this video. First of all, if tweets dictate the entire movement of the U.S. stock market, run for your life. Run for your life. I actually agree with Jim Cramer about this. If tweets are the only function and stimuli of stock market moving up or down, run for your freaking lives, because the stampede is about to hit. And I think this happens very, very soon. But I think this is actually Trump's agenda. And let me explain why. Trump wants the Federal Reserve to, again, extend the bailouts. He's actually looking for more bailouts, and he's promoting, through his own words, he wants them to cut rates from 2.5%, essentially zero. Rates are already at zero. We've spent trillions of dollars. Obama doubled the debt. Trump inherited all of this, of course, but what he's calling for is even more stimulus.
Yeah, well, you know, I know that the rates are not at zero anymore. I remember them being at zero, and if, we were doing pretty bad at that time. And there was a lot of talk that if they did raise the rates, that it would make things just totally much worse. And they did raise the rates, and it's not at zero anymore. But in any case, I'm not an economic guru, so. But anyways, if you want to listen to the rest of this, I will leave the links like usual. The main thing I want everyone to be concerned with is knowing where we are right now and what's going on. And, you know, we've talked about this many times, that the war machine must go on. You know, if everyone is doing so bad, you know, and who has all the money if all these countries are failing? If China, you know, is billions, and they're actually in more debt than we are. How that's possible, I have no idea. Obviously, somebody is doing something wrong, or they're doing something right. I mean, now they're talking about bailing out the banks again. Well, who has all the darn money? Somebody's got to have the money. We don't have it. China doesn't have it. Russia claims they don't have it. And the bank's going to want another bailout. What it's all about is this impending war that is just, you know, it's like 10 seconds before midnight. Okay, that's where it is right now. And I'll go and show you these other things that we got concerning what happened today. This is from End Time Headlines. Rumors of war. U.S. plans to deploy 120,000 troops to MidEast if Iran attacks American forces in chilling echoes of Iraq war. Yeah. So, in any case, yeah, Iran has been threatening, and they apparently, supposedly, we'll get to that, have attacked using drones on Saudi ships again. So that's what we'll get to. But in the meantime, Spain is taking its ships out of these U.S. aircraft carrier groups because of the tensions between them and Iran. So if they're backing out thinking there's going to be a war and they don't want to actually go to war, I mean, why would they get in there in the first place? I don't get that. But maybe they're pulling out to be a, what do you call it? What do you call those? Weren't they in World War II, or was that Switzerland? Neutral country, they call it. Yeah, I think it was Switzerland that was a neutral. But anyway, Spain's recalled a frigate accompanying the U.S. aircraft to the Middle East because of rising tensions between Washington and Tehran. For the moment, the frigate Mendez Núñez has left the combat group of the USS Abraham Lincoln, ministry spokesman said, confirming a report in the Spanish daily El Pas. But in any case, let's move on to the next one. Britain warns the U.S. of unintended escalation in conflict with Iran as Trump sends bombers to Gaul. We put that in yesterday's report, I believe, about the bombers being sent in there. The other thing I wanted to get to before I got to Oroville, and I'm looking for it. Oh, here we go. This is from the DEPCA file. I don't usually get my news from there, but got it from somebody. Anyway, a second attack on Gulf oil. Drones drop explosives on 2 Saudi oil pumping stations. So apparently, not 2 more ships, but 2 more pumping stations, or 2 pumping stations. And so, you know, if you attack the oil, you attack the bloodline of the world. Apparently. I mean, according to Debbie Treveris, and I, may agree with her on some things, oil is a renewable resource. It is not a limited one. You can go to stopthecrime.com and learn about this oil and what they claim are a limited resource, but it is actually renewable. You actually believe that all these dinosaurs and plants and everything else pulled up into one area or another in each country and just died and decomposed into oil? Really? If you believe that, then I'm sure you probably believe in evolution as well. But yeah, I don't believe that for a bit. I mean, how can you get all these dinosaurs and all the stuff they needed to break down into this oil, okay, this fossil fuel? Give me a break. Anyway, 2 pumping stations on a major Saudi east-west oil pipeline were attacked by drones today, May 14th. Saudi Energy Minister Khalid Falah stated 2 days after 2 Saudi oil tankers were sabotaged outside Fujairah, port of the UAE Gulf of Oman waters. This attack has drawn no international response after 48 hours. That's why I think you need to think whether this may be propaganda. Nobody else is reporting on it. I look for it. I look for the news every day. I run across it every day. But this was given to me by somebody who does the news every day too. He got it. But again, like I said, I don't normally go to the DEPCA files. But anyways, so this attack has drawn no international response. The minister called the attack by drones carrying explosive an act of terrorism that targeted global oil supplies. 2 pumping stations belong to Saudi Aramco, forcing the state oil company to suspend operations. You get that? That means a lot. Suspend operations. So you're going to see the price of oil. I don't know. Probably, I don't know if it'll go up or down. I don't know how that works. But it's going to be a big push in either direction. And it's not normally good. It's not a good thing. So anyways, the stations are situated in the Saudi cities of wherever they are. They were attacked, supposedly by these drones. Somewhere along the line, Iran actually took responsibility for it. I'm trying to find that. Oh, boy. Anyway, let's listen to this from FullSpectrumSurvival. Listen to him for 1 minute. Training camp discovered in the USA.
To Full Spectrum Survival's News on the Night Shift, where we cover important news events for the evening of May 13th, 2019. A terrorist training camp is reported to have been found in the U.S. state of Alabama, with officials releasing very little information other than to say that the camp had an owner who is already being charged with recruiting and attempting to train non-American saboteurs to attack American sites. According to the report, the plot of land in Macon County, Alabama, is described in an FBI search warrant as a, quote, makeshift military-style obstacle course belonging to a small group of individuals led by a person who owned the property up along a dirt road near Tuskegee. While the discovery is being largely avoided by the mainstream, it is sending a very powerful message to the populace with the following statement. Sometimes, if you see something that isn't suspicious, it's someone exercising their First Amendment rights or living a way that you may not agree with. But it does not always pose a criminal or national security threat. But sometimes they actually are.
Yeah, so that is one of the other problems, man. You got a terrorist training camp in the United States, and I know for sure that it's not the only one. We talked about ones yesterday, I believe, the Gurkhas, the Chinese Gurkhas who are here, and you also have Russian military who are here up in Oregon or Washington, where the Russians, and right over the border, there's other foreign military personnel in camps. We've talked about that a year ago when they were actually seen. So I'm still trying to find the one, excuse me, the one where Iran has admitted to this drone attacks, but I cannot find it. So we'll have to, just give me a second. Let me look into this. What did I do with it? I don't know. Anyways, okay. Well, anyways, I can't find that one right now. Maybe we'll come across it somewhere along the line, but not too much longer now. This is from the Daily Mail. Limpet mines were used to blow holes in tankers in UAE. Say divers examining 4 sabotage ships as U.S. and Iran tried to claim fears of war after Saudi Arabia claimed explosive-laden drones targeted its oil pipelines in an act of terrorism. Yeah, so let's see. Well, here's the connection here. It says the second line down here, it says Iran-backed Houthi rebels had earlier claimed to have targeted several vital Saudi targets with drones. So by proxy, yes, Iran has backed many terrorist organizations. That's why we call them a terrorist state. Axis of evil. Well, they weren't part of the axis of evil. That was World War II. Yeah. Comes after 4 ships, including 2 Saudi tankers, were damaged, sabotage attacks off the east. Yeah, America's military initial assessment is that Iran or Iran-backed proxies are responsible for the attacks. So they don't come out in a minute, but do admit to backing Houthi and whatever other organization they do support. Let's see, what else do we got here? I put this link in here. This one is a link from Florida Maquis. Okay, it's dated to 5/11/19. It was dated for 3 days ago. But if you want to find out some information about what's going on in Venezuela and the connection between the U.S. and what they're doing there and why Americans want to go in there, you'll find out most of that information in here. And why Russia and China are backing the Venezuelans. And go to Florida Maquis' YouTube channel and look for other videos where he tells you, gives you data, data that you can see and go pick up yourself. And it talks about this all the way through. And now we're at a point, just a very scary point, where America, they just see that there's no other choice but to go to war, because in other words, other than that, I mean, what's going to happen? You're going to have Saudis sign up to Russia, Venezuela sign up to Russia. America has no more support, no more petrodollar, and now they are not the world's currency. And so that will destabilize and cripple the U.S., which in turn will cripple the world, which will mean war in any case. But in the meantime, let's one last train of thought here, okay, about this Oroville Dam. I think we've been covering it. Pretty sure that I have, but there is a big problem there. The problem there, and I'll let this guy explain it in 3 minutes right here. I guess this is from A Plain Truth 2. Let me go shut this down. Yeah, A Plain Truth 2. It's a backup channel, I guess. Rain is coming to Oroville, okay? It is predicted, it is in the weather forecast. They are up to 888 feet right now. And I believe that they will overtop at about 902 feet, 2 to 4 feet, something like that. And it'll only take 1 day of the 2 days of rain that they supposedly got coming. And they have snow also coming for the higher elevations, which means that this thing could overtop. And in this 3 minutes that this guy's going to talk about, he's going to tell you why. Why is the spillway not open? And if you've been paying attention to this Oroville news story, you'll know that this supposed spillway, and it's not the emergency one, the regular spillway is not open. A lot of people are saying that it's broke. There's video that and other data that Oroville Dam is hiding or not turning on. They've turned off the cameras. We'll let this guy talk for 3 minutes. All right? Good information.
Monday morning, folks. And we're in the second week of May, and this broadcast is... I don't know how else to say this, folks, but I'm deeply concerned over the Oroville Dam. And I can tell you right now, the amount of censorship that is surrounding this topic is literally unbelievable, folks. I want to go over a couple things with you right now. The live cam to the Oroville Dam spillway is offline. That's right. That's right, folks. The largest dam in the United States, the tallest dam in the United States, has its spillway live cam offline. Now, the Oroville Dam is the tallest dam in the United States, and it is an earthen dam, folks. It's made out of compacted dirt, and its general purpose is for a reservoir and a little bit of hydroelectric action. But the bottom line here, folks, is I want to talk about something extremely important about the Oroville Dam, and why I recommend, if you live below the Oroville Dam, I recommend you get out of there immediately. I really recommend that, folks.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. Something is seriously wrong with what's going on at the Oroville Dam.
You know anybody there, call them up, tell them to take a vacation.
Something is seriously wrong with the way YouTube is handling the coverage of the Oroville Dam situation.
Of course.
Something is seriously wrong with why the spillway is not open right now. And something is seriously wrong with the following number. The lake level is 888 feet as of this morning. That's right. That's right, folks. May 13th, 2019. The Oroville Dam lake level is 888 feet.
Yeah, and that was yesterday, and they're expecting rain today and tomorrow. So, folks, you know somebody there, call them up, get them out of there.
Now that's above the full pool level of 720 feet, right? This thing's already maxed out, and the spillway's not open. Once again, for those of you tuning in, this is Joe Briano, the Fullerton Informer, P.O. Box 4121, Fullerton, California 92834, and we're covering my recommendations for the evacuation of the Oroville Dam area, folks. We reached a critical mass point of 888 feet. The Oroville Dam level is now at 888 feet with the spillway not open. And here's the kicker, folks. San Francisco, which is to the southwest of Oroville, Lake Oroville, is expected to get 1 month's worth of rain in 1 day this week. That's right. The lake's at capacity, the spillway's not open, and just to the southwest of Lake Oroville, San Francisco is about to get a month's worth of rain in 1 day this week. Okay.
Where have we heard that? A month's worth of rain in 24 hours. That 24-hour mark again. So you can listen to the rest of it. It's 27 minutes long. That's nothing compared to what my videos are, right? So anyway, if you don't know that, I've been following. I've been getting all the updates to the Oroville Dam. I've subscribed to them. I get notifications, as many as I can look at it. But in any case, folks, you got to think about all this together, and that's why I am very concerned for American citizens and for citizens around the world who are going to be involved in all this war that's coming. Take the propaganda for what it's worth. Yes, there's always propaganda before and during and after a war. Always is, and there's such an increase in it. It's tough to get through it. But been through enough of it today and yesterday and past couple days to know that, well, in my opinion, obviously, that everything is just accumulated or pulled enough together, like a frame in a puzzle, and you're just looking for the last couple pieces. And once you got the frame, you can put it together pretty quickly after that. Till the puzzle's put together, and voila. Probably a poor example of what's going on, but in any case, we have a lot of praying to do. Things are at a precipice. We're at the edge, and do we have the faith to step forward, take that one last leap, pray, stop this insanity, or the Lord's will be done? And you know what? We'll be going home soon. Very, very soon. We could be pulled out tomorrow. We could be pulled out tonight. Maybe after this video's done. Who knows? I just think that we're at that point. And one last time to go out there and speak to the lost. Speak to the people who are in fear of all this and show them the hope that they can have and the fear that they can do without. Now's the time to get these people, the Lord to send them to us. Let's stand in the gap. Let's intercede. So with that, everyone, prayers. My prayers are for you. My prayers are for this crazy world to finally take its toll, and let's get out of here and let's go home and come back and do it the right way, right? We're going to come back in the millennial and we're going to do it the right way. So with that, everyone, God bless you all, and peace out, everyone.